Welcome to the Tuesday night chill stream. And for the next little while, we see ourselves doing DC Marvel mashups on this night. Um, Tonight, we're going to do the one that sort of inspired the rest. Well, partly, anyways, because it was supposed to be the Bat family with the X-Men. So, and of course, the first one that I thought of was Batman with Professor X. So, we're going to be trying to combine Batman and Professor X. How the heck do you do that? That just does not seem like it's going to go together well. We're going to have to figure that out. I've had some thoughts beforehand. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do. Yeah. Anyways, let me share this out. And of course, I'm going to have to change the thing, the title, because I realized just before going live that the title is slightly wrong. Because it is not February 2nd, it is February 3rd. So we're going to change that here in a second. So before we share it out, that way everybody hopefully will see the right date. And maybe if we get some people in here and maybe on the panel, I've got a couple ideas maybe to talk about. I'm not sure how long they'll go on for, but they might be interesting. I don't know. Anyway, so let me share this out now. We'll share on Facebook. Post. Okay, and that says the right date there. Let's do it on X. I'm going to figure out how to do this on Instagram. There it is on Twitter. Yes, we want to leave Twitter. We'll grab the link and we'll put it in our Discord. So maybe some people that... There we go. And of course, we are in the chat there. And let's bring up that. Okay. So we pretty much know what Batman looks like, and we pretty much know like what Professor X looks like. So I don't think we're going to need any real reference. I'm still thinking for some reason I'm not gonna go into the whole backstories on these characters. I'm not creating any real backstory. I might think of it up on the spot, and so that's obviously not anywhere near quote unquote canon. So I still want to do the wheelchair. And I don't know, will he end up being in the field more? Does he have two different wheelchairs? How iconic is the floating wheelchair? I know I've seen him in the floating wheelchair. Everybody, I think, knows the floating chair wheelchair from the X-Men series in the 90s. So, that's almost a first thought to go with. That covers a lot of his body too. But then there's just a regular wheelchair. So I think I want to go somewhere between those two, some sort of advanced type wheelchair. I'm not sure what that would look like. And And of course, Professor X is just always in a suit, if you will. Now I know on the dreamscape or the astral plane, more accurately, he's got a look. I think that's more where you might see the Batman look for Professor X, Bat X, as we might call it, or call him. So, I don't know. Anyways, I guess we should start somewhere. Okay, so let's start with the wheelchair because we know we're going to want him sitting down. Now, maybe with the wheelchair, we can somehow combine it with a Batmobile. If that makes any sense. Give them thing here. We have some controls over this way too. We have some sort of controls as well. And there's controls there. I guess you'd be combining a few things in some ways. I think like combining like Picard's chair almost from. And funny that I used Picard with Patrick Stewart having played both Captain Picard and Professor Xavier. So, there we. I really need to get those. Well, I've got the new nibs. I've ordered them. Hopefully, they will be in by next week sometime. So, we're. Hey, that looks so weird. See a bat symbol on the wheelchair. And actually, you know what? Maybe we'll have this go like this and that come down like that. And then we go that over. And this will come up onto there like that. So that comes down like that as well. So you sort of have a wheel well over thing. Some protection on the sides to protect his feet. Or maybe, the wheelchair sort of transforms around his body to make his armor, give him some sort of armor and mobility so he can be in the field at times. So that means we'd really have to redesign this a little more. I'm not sure exactly how, but so know, so he's still fit too. I think we'd have him still fit. There. We're getting, I think, somewhere. Okay, so we'll give him gloves as Xavier. And instead of just regular shoes, we'll give him boots. Like Batman. I guess we'll give him the utility belt too, just so he has something. And you know, there's going to be things in this chair. So okay, so I guess we're gonna. It's gonna look like he's in a three-piece suit, but we'll have the bat symbol here. You know, as a little logo and on the like up here, not like in the center, like you would be used to with Batman. And I guess we'll still have him bald. Give him his ears. Uh, okay, so like I said, this is going to be twofold. We're going to have to redesign the wheelchair completely to do what we were talking about for it to be able to transform around him and make him like Batman and armor. I guess we're adding a little bit of Tony Stark in there too, but so okay, so we're gonna have it so the bat stuff. We're gonna really we're just this is the bat armor. So the bat, it's gonna come down like that, I think. We'll still have the ears. Oh, that's supposed to, you know what? Let's go back. Because that's supposed to be the shoulder stuff there. And then here is the head. Comes up over. There's your eyes. So that. So you're gonna thinking, well, I'm not sure what to do here yet. That's the armrest, I guess. We would bring all the way up to here, and that would go over his arm to protect his arm. And we'll say the outside, maybe the inner part. We'll have to figure things out, obviously, at some point, but. I really need to get those nibs. Okay, so I know this doesn't look the best. It's something that we have to work on, so this is right now, it's only supposed to be concept. It's not like I'm taking this sort of thing anywhere. Bat X. I'd have to figure out how the various things work. Like, maybe just even this regular suit is made of Kevlar and weave and all that. So it would be sort of protective like Batman's suit, but then the whatchamacallit, the wheelchair transforming around him gives him extra protection and a little bit more mobility in um, able to walk and maybe some flight or whatever, or grappling hooks.
Hello, Rick.
Hello. Hey, Metal.
How are you doing?
Good, good. Yourself? Oh, I meant to ask you something. Although I know you're probably more going to have to answer off air. Um,
Whatever it is, the answer's no.
okay. um, I've been thinking about putting Canadian Shield 1 up on Amazon. Well, I'm actually thinking about putting them all up on Amazon at some point. But I want, and even Indie Planet. But for both of them, I would like to do a cover for them. That way it's different than what everybody else has. And I was thinking maybe you doing the cover for Canadian Shield 1, if you'd be interested.
Oh, possibly. Possibly.
And of course, I don't know whether you want to say your rate on air or not, but I'd have to obviously find out your rate off air or whatever, or something like
Oh,
that.
yes, that'll have to be off there because I want people to always just assume that I cost more than I actually do. That way I could be more flexible and respectable with my price.
Yeah. And of course, the price that you might give me might be a little lower just because of a really good, I shouldn't say really good friend, but a decent friend or whatever, the friend and family rate.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe after that comment, I might need to upcharge you.
Yeah. True. Oh, but how are you this evening otherwise?
I'm alright.
Oh, and you can't probably see well, you might have a thing open, but
Oh, I've had this stream open since before I sat down.
yeah. Of course, as you've probably been hearing, then I'm trying to combine Batman and Professor X.
But why?
Well, from last week, I was saying about that, I had a thought combining the Bat family with the X-Men, and because,
Oh, no. I know what the theme of your stream is. I'm just like, why those two particularly?
well, that's what I was getting at. Because Batman, of course, is the head of the Bat family, and then Professor X is supposed to be the head of the X-Men, or at least when it began, he formed it and all that, right? So I figured just for that reason, those two go together.
Yeah, but like Batman's also really active and Professor X often isn't. See, if it was me, I would have been really lazy and I would have just put Alfred in a wheelchair.
Yeah. It made him Professor X.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that I still don't know who I want to combine Alfred with, and that sort of does fit too. But I just I just had to put the two guys in charge, I think, together, of the things. So, and although, I'm not sure how much you've heard me talking about my thought process on doing this, of course, I created somewhat of a wheelchair here. This is just preliminary drawings, of course. I'm not sure whether I'm going to go over this again The other problem too I'm having is that I need a new nib for my stylus, which I've ordered, but it's got to get here and I've got to replace it. But so I'm thinking the wheelchair transforms around him to give him the mobility like Batman. He is confined to the wheelchair normally, but he could buy.
I don't know, man. I don't know how Batman would ever be confined to a wheelchair. That man's back has been physically broken before and he recovered from it.
Yeah, but
Um,
he got healed via, I won't say supernatural means, but somebody that
that's
could.
fine though. Like, I don't see Batman ever letting himself be in a wheelchair
Well,
as long as he's still young enough to do things. He'd figure some way to get his legs working again.
but he actually,
He's Batman.
well, he was when his back did get broken at first, he was in a wheelchair for like he went looking for Tim Drake's father in the comics, and he was in a wheelchair doing that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
But
then that,
also, the world has become a lot more complex than back then, too, right?
yeah,
Batman has access to so many. It's like why I never bought Barbara being in a wheelchair. It just never made sense to me. I never cared for Oracle. And like, okay, maybe if this was 20 years before that happened, but by that point in the comics, like, literally anybody could fix her.
yeah. Well, we still have people in wheelchairs today, so But then again,
You
you're
don't have the
dealing.
technology they have in the comics today.
True. That I was about to mention something along that lines too. But you
Or
know,
the magic that they have. There's like probably like 15 ways off the top of my head in the DC universe with the connections they have that I could just fix somebody who's in a wheelchair.
yeah,
Half of them are friends with Dr. Fate.
yeah, yeah. But would Doctor Fate do it? There's a question. There's a lot of characters, yeah, that
If
could do
Batman
it.
told him to.
He would, you think?
Yeah, because he's Batman and he's got plot armor for being Batman. The universe just bends to him.
Okay. So yeah, at least, well, I'm not sure how things would work in this mashed up universe, but I don't know how he would not get fixed. Like well, I guess Xavier should be able to get fixed then too in the Marvel universe. There's lots of people that
Yeah,
yeah,
I've had some issues with that. The only excuse I give for Xavier is because of how long he was in the wheelchair, and he was in it and already became an old man before a lot of that stuff was introduced. But then again, they've also had Xavier walking a lot. Heck, not even too long ago, Xavier was on his own 2 feet walking around. So
yeah,
I think also the people writing Marvel agree with that.
yeah. So yeah, there are definitely things, and that's why like in this, I'm using I guess armor to you know
Yeah.
to get him walking. You know the whole in the wheelchair is just a disguise, I guess.
Yeah.
But he's got this fancy looking wheelchair, which ends up transforming around to him. He's Bat X.
Like I could see Superman just turning to him as like, Bruce, the healing chamber in the Fortress of Solitude can surgically repair just about anything.
Yeah, and heck, that mascara. Not that they would necessarily
Oh yeah, yeah.
know the purple thing. That healed Steve Trevor. So yeah, you're definitely right. There's lots of different ways that these characters in wheelchairs should probably be able to be fixed up easily. Um, but it's
Yeah,
comics.
like the only reason I would see it, and I even, they've said too, the reason that Oracle is in a wheelchair was actually for handicap representation. It was a plot device. It was a really bad one. Um, the only reason I could see somebody actually staying in wheelchair is by their own choice. Because they're like, listen, I'm in a wheelchair now. This is my retirement. I don't want to run out and fight people. So
Yeah.
if that was the case, which I would never see Batman doing that, he's too crazy to retire. I wouldn't see somebody in a wheelchair using a power armor to walk around.
You don't see the power armor, you think, in the wheel?
Yeah, yeah. It's like either you would retire to the wheelchair as an excuse to not do things, or you would just get your legs fixed. I think those are the only two options.
Okay, well, in this universe, for whatever reason, he doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, disguise, who's going to suspect a guy in a wheelchair?
Oh, more than you'd think.
Gallivanting around as a superhero. But, actually, somewhat in preparation for this, thing, well, I just on the way up, and I was thinking about, because of doing, Batman and Professor X, and I began thinking about the Bat family. We have no real families like that for villains. I think that might be a neat thing to see. Like in the DC universe, of course, they have the Bat family, Super family, Flash family, Wonder family. Not that there's many in that, and the Arrow family. A lot of these main characters have all. Even Martian Manhunter sort of got the Martian family. But
We've got something kind of like it. The Royal Flush Gang exists.
yeah, I guess it was sort of a family,
That's the only one I can think of off the top of my head.
but I would really like to. I'm thinking I don't know how I'd create it. Of course, you have to create something like that over time. But I
Yeah.
would think I would like to try and do that in my universe. Create a crime family, a villain family, like that.
I mean, you wouldn't have to create it over time necessarily. I mean, you might still want to introduce people over time, but I think the best way to do it would be to basically lay into your history that they've always been around and just introduce a younger member of the family, right? So that like the older people had been around, and then you could like you can slowly introduce the other people who have been doing it forever. But you could like the younger son or daughter could be involved doing something, and then after she's defeated or whatever, go running home. The next time you could end up dealing with the other person, but you could set them all up at once, and then just like gradually introduce them at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah.
Because that's
Over.
usually how stuff like that works in linear storytelling, similar to like in manga, right? Where like you'll introduce somebody from like a group of bad guys first, and then after they get defeated, it shows the rest of them. You could easily do that with like a crime mob, which typically that's how family stuff like that works in Western comics because they're usually just like crime syndicates and they run like mobs where everybody is a family.
Yeah. Well, I know, like, of course, Kara and, you know, Superman are technically family, but Superboy is not technically family. But, well, I
I
guess,
mean, he is genetically related to him.
yeah. And they've had, well, Steel is part of that family too now. And well, they've
Yeah.
had a few others that aren't necessarily that have adopted the super symbol, the S symbol. And of course, Batman, technically, the only one that's technically related to Bruce is Damian. You know, but
Yeah, yeah. All of Batman's family is basically adopted, whether legally or just informally.
yeah. So like I think that would be neat to try and create.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just saying, like, if you want to do
Yeah,
something like that, it probably is going to grow into like a mafia structure, though, Whether
Yeah,
they're some of them might be biologically related, some of them might have been adopted into the family.
yeah. I just don't want it to end
Because
up
that's just
in some way.
typically how it works in crime.
Yeah, I guess I would like to try not have it end up like that. I would like to try and have it end up being like either the Bat family, Super family, one of the families that are in DC. And then I was thinking that that's something that too I noticed. Marvel doesn't really have a lot of those quote unquote families. The closest thing, of course, is the Fantastic Four, and then they're a team family at the same time. They're not quite. It's not quite the
um,
same thing.
Marvel does. They're just not as expansive on it.
Yeah,
And for the most part in Marvel, they usually still exist in the title characters' books, and most of them don't get their own spin-offs, right? Like there is an Iron Man family where there's
yeah,
a bunch of different people who all have Iron Man suits.
yeah. There's a yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say he's one that's they've done a little bit because Rhodes got the Iron Man armor, and then Tony
There is
gave
like a
him.
League of Thors, which are like all people who have held the Thor hammer that have been given their own weapon over time.
Yeah, I guess there's a Thor family. I guess sort of that
There's
way.
several Hulks. They actually did a show that was like that where they took a lot of them. There was the Hulk and the Agents of Smash,
Yeah,
where it was just
yeah,
a bunch of the different like
yeah.
Hulks.
But again, that's more recent stuff. The Bat family and all that have been around for ages, of course.
Yeah. But I mean, they've also been building up some of those Hulk characters over a long period of time. They just didn't have some of the other ones as old as like Batman's always had other people. Since like what 12 years into his run, he's had a bunch of other people aside from just like Robin, who was introduced fairly ish early on.
Yeah,
Um, But
yeah.
like She
With
Hulk
the
was introduced kind of early ish compared to some of the other things. So like the Hulk family started growing early ish. It just took a long time for people like the like a bomb and stuff to be added to it.
yeah, and
So
Red Hulk and
Rick was around the whole time. He just didn't become a bomb yet.
yeah, and in some ways I would consider him part of the Hulk family if that even from the beginning. You know, because he's always helping out the Hulk. He was sort of the Alfred.
Yeah. Or in some ways, he was also he's like halfway between Alfred and Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah,
I've always liked Rick. He's a good character. I don't like the fact that he became A-bomb. I liked him better the way he was before. But similar to Jimmy Olsen, over the years, he's also the type of person who temporarily has had like every power under the sun. So I guess it was inevitable that they were just going to settle on a power set for him. I'm glad Jimmy kind of just goes back to being Jimmy, though, and they're not doing the same thing with that over at DC.
yeah. Although in of course Supergirl they made him Guardian.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah.
I'm not too fond of that series either.
Yeah, but I think overall for some of the because like some of their titles are built as a family from the start, right? X Men is one of those where X Men is built as a family from the start.
Yeah,
Fantastic Four is another one where it's kind of built as a family from the
yeah,
start.
but
Uh,
like I see X-Men still more as a team. Yeah, in some ways I can see it as a family. I can see where you're coming from. I thought about them.
well, the characters are built to fit certain roles in the family,
Yeah,
right? Like if this was an actual family, they're a makeshift family.
but I think like they've
Yeah.
destroyed the X-Men, if you will, before the team, and then they come back with a
Oh
totally
yeah,
new
that
team.
family's gotten a divorce several times.
Changed up so many times, it's not funny.
Yeah, yeah. But aside from those bigger ones that are built to be a family, um, which DC has their equivalents of that too, right? Like DC prior they had Doom Patrol as well, right? Like they have things that are exactly like that. Um,
Yeah,
Marvel does do several family-like things. They just don't go all out on it in the
Yeah,
same way that DC does. That's
yeah,
kind
and
of
I
the thing
guess
that makes
that's
a
what I
difference.
mean.
All of their titular characters have had an expansive roster. I mean, how many Spider characters are there?
Yeah, well, again, Spider-Man is one that I'd say in more recent years that they
You know,
started doing that. Yeah, and like you said, with
well, they've
Hulk,
started going all in on it in recent years, right? They've started doing the uh, almost like how there was Batman International for a little bit. They're doing Spider-Man International, except it's Spider-Man Interdimensional with the Spider-Verse stuff. But they've
yeah,
had a few other ones quite a bit earlier on. Like there's ones that are, I guess if you consider 30 to 40 years ago still recent, sure. But there's stuff they've been doing for 30 or 40 years now.
yeah. Well, I'm more thinking, like say 20 or years less for recent.
Yeah.
With adding Scarlet Ghost Spider, meaning Spider Gwen, Miles Morales, I'm not sure who else they've added for that. Venom, I guess I would say too.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, because Venom was originally a villain, so like I will count that as being a recent thing. But like Spider Woman's been around since '77.
Yeah, but she was around, but they were connected, but weren't connected just the name, really.
I mean, they did do a lot of stuff together during the Secret Wars, right? So like they were a little bit more connected, at least in the crossover stuff.
Yeah,
Which her outfit, the Spider Woman black suit in Secret Wars, that was a really good outfit.
yeah.
I liked the black suits when they were just like cool black suits that were there for the crossover and didn't somehow with need to explain why Peter had one and spawned Venom out of it. You're like, oh, I just wanted to draw Peter in a new suit. Oh yeah, but now we gotta explain it.
Yeah. And if you're wondering who I'm trying to draw or what I'm trying to draw here, Alan Scott Green Lantern with Captain America.
Okay, okay.
I'm having a
I
rough
mean,
time.
at least you picked the best Green Lantern. But
And again, the reason I picked him out of all the Green Lanterns, I was thinking Hal, but then I thought, let's do the Golden Age Green Lantern. You know, Same time period as Captain America is supposed to be from, right? So,
mm-hmm.
so I'm just trying to figure out how I want to do things. Of course, you saw that I put the Green Lantern symbol on the thing at first. Now I'm trying to make the Captain America's star into Green the symbol. I don't know. I don't know what the heck I'm doing for this. What elements I want to use from each character, and I should actually have Alan Scott up. I should give him the cape. I think I'll give him the cape. Alan Scott's cape. So, any crazy mashups you can think about?
I try not to.
Can see
I think I'm just
that.
happier that way. I used to do that when I was like in junior high, though. I would just take two random characters and be like, if I were to fuse them together, what would they turn out in? But I haven't done that in a long time. Kind of got over that phase.
Yeah, well, I was over it for a while. I don't know. Just every so often, come back to something like that.
It could be good for content though. Like, what we need to do is we just need to find two movies that are coming out at the same time. Let me see. Let me see if I can figure one out.
He-Man and Voltron.
Is there a Voltron movie coming out soon?
Well, they're maybe not so soon, but I was just watching a thing that it said post-production, but I think it's more pre-production. Live action Voltron is in pre-production. Henry Cavill's supposed to be in it. Maybe it's post-production. I think it's supposed to be going straight to Amazon Prime.
Yeah. I mean,
And
still, even if it's going straight to Amazon, that's something.
yeah, Joshua
I
said
don't know what we would do to fuse those together. I guess we just
Rick is mad,
end up
going mad with power. How am I going mad with power?
drawing He-Man characters in the Voltron suits. I couldn't see like any other way you would combine them together. Like, am I just gonna draw Voltron, but he looks like He-Man? Maybe they all look like Battle Cat, like all of the things, and it's just a bunch of Battle Cats that form into a big lion robot.
Yeah, or we know there's two main animals. Well, I guess you could have on He-Man's side. There's the hawk or eagle. What? Yeah, hawk. The sorceress, of course, Cringer. I'm not sure what other animals are major in He-Man. I can't think.
When's
of them.
He-Man coming out?
May? No, June. June 5th.
Oh, that's pretty late. I was gonna say if they were closer together, it's like we could just swap all or fuse or swap all the Mario and He-Man movie characters together.
Still that
I,
could be interesting. When's
because Mario's April, right? So it's like, what if the Mario characters were the masters of the universe? You probably get some clicks on that.
Yeah, we could do it as it comes out. Combine Mario and He-Man.
Yeah, obviously because they're the main ones.
Luigi with Man-at-Arms.
Yeah, sure, I could see that one.
Wario
Wario and Beast Man.
Okay, I was gonna go Tila and.
Or I guess Donkey Kong and Beast Man would probably make more sense, but like.
Tila or Sorceress with
No.
with the
Tila's
princess.
got to be Peach.
Yeah.
Rosalina would be the sorceress.
Okay, I wasn't sure which one. I was thinking one of the two like that.
Especially because like it's Mario Galaxy, so Rosalina's going to be in that. I wish Wario was in this movie. He's not going to be.
Wario would probably be more Skeletor, I think. No, Bowser. Bowser, yeah.
Especially because there's a dry bone Bowser that you could just use for the skeleton look for the head. But Rosalina's going to be in the movie because it's Mario Galaxy. And in Mario Galaxy, she is basically at the observatory the whole time and even kind of fits a similar role to the sorceress at Castle Grayskull. So it'd be a very good mix between the two characters.
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe I'll do that.
They're gonna be they're gonna be in the zeitgeist. You might be able to get some clicks that way. It's a good idea.
Yeah. Over the couple months, as when Mario comes out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Start fusing over the next,
You could fill
month.
the time in between them. Yeah.
Yeah. With various characters,
Yeah, but I don't think we would use the whole dry bone Bowser Skeletor because I think we only need dry bone Bowser's head, right? Like we want to put dry bone Bowser's head on normal Bowser's body. And then he'd be like Skeletor.
Yeah, I think who you were saying Donkey Kong with Beast Man. So Although Donkey Kong's sort of a good guy, but he's not.
Yeah, that's
So,
why I was thinking. Like, that's why
uh,
Wario probably fits Beastman more. It'd probably be more interesting to see that image drawn than just making Donkey Kong Beastman.
yeah, it's too close in my opinion. Um,
Yeah.
I guess you'd end up combining like Koopa Paratroopers and the Koopa Troopers with in like what's the name?
Bowser Jr.'s there. You can make him one of the bad guys.
Yeah, combine a Koopa Troopa with what's Triclops or Trapjaw. Not sure who you do for Beastman, but I know you're saying Wario. So
You can make a Kamek Evil Lyn because that'd be funny. Yeah, the Kamek.
who's that?
Kamek, which I believe is typically a guy. He was voiced as a guy in the movie, but he kind of has. He's kind of Bowser's butler. He's like his Alfred or whatever, but he's a sorcerer that took care of Bowser when he was a child. And they had a girl version of it named Cammy Koopa in Paper Mario as well. And it would just be funny to turn him into Evil Lyn, I think. Like, just for stupid reasons. Mostly because I can't think of, like, a girl character
Well, Bowser
that's
does
a
have a
bad
daughter.
guy.
Bowser does have a daughter.
He has an adoptive daughter named Wendy O. Koopa.
Oh,
Sure, if you want to use her. Yeah.
I know. I didn't realize she was adopted because I thought.
All the
We,
Koopalings are adopted.
okay, I did not realize that. Skeletor Jr.
The only biological son Bowser has is Bowser Jr.
Oh, okay.
We
Because
still don't know where he came from, other than the fact that Bowser's his dad.
we just don't know who his
Bowser
mom
could be his mom. We don't know. They could do what's it called when somebody doesn't actually need a partner? There's actually a scientific name for that.
asexual,
Well, it is
asexually.
asexual, but I mean, there's a certain name for the Genesis. It's like apop Genesis or something like that. I don't remember the name of it.
But that would more. I think. Well, although she's adopted, because we see her in both number three and Super Mario World.
Yes. Yeah, you see all the Koopalings in both of those games.
Yeah.
Parthenogenesis, that's the name of it. Parthenogenesis. Lizards often do this, right? Where they only actually need one. Typically, it is a female who doesn't need a male to fertilize it because they have the genes and they can just create a clone sort of by themselves. Parthenogenesis. Bowser is a male, as far as we know, but Koopas are also weird. We don't know. Maybe a male can do parthenogenesis.
Yeah, it's a different universe, so maybe yeah, he can do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
We don't know.
I think I was thinking of apoptosis, which is when a cell kills itself. I think that was the other word that was stuck in my head. But I remember that being a Q&A in Nintendo Power one time where, or was it in, I think it was in Famitsu and Nintendo Power translated it. But somebody asked uh, Miyamoto who Bowser Jr.'s mother was. And he's like, well, how do you know that Bowser's not the mother? And then they asked, well, then who's the father? And all he did on the video interview was point to himself, like in a questioning way, like me, me. Which is true in a sense because he created all these characters, but
Yeah.
also awkward if that's true in a fictional sense too.
Yeah. So, like, yeah. So yeah, I think the mash that's a decent idea. I just gotta start. I gotta sit down and figure out. I know probably a little bit more about Masters of the Universe than I do Mario, so that's you know weird in of itself. Maybe I'm not sure.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. Those are just the only two things that I thought of that are close within range and are fantastical enough that you probably could mix each other. Because there's not a lot of other good things coming along the pipeline.
well, Mandalorian's upcoming too. Mandalorian
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
Roku. I could do some mashups with something with that. Mario and the Mandalorian. He-Man and the Mandalorian.
The He Mandalorian.
The He-Lorian. Although, quite some time ago, I tried to combine Star Trek and Star Wars.
Yeah.
I combined Yoda with Spock. Spoda.
I think I
Although,
prefer Yak.
Yak. Okay, that's pretty good too. Uh, Joshua says, we all know Peach is the mother.
Well, that was the plot of Super Mario Sunshine, where Bowser told baby Bowser that Peach was his mother, so he was trying to rescue his mother from Mario. But then at the very end, they had a conversation sitting on their hot tub flipped upside down in the sea after they were defeated. And he's like, Junior, I've got something to tell you. And he's like, Yeah, Dad, I know. Peach isn't really my mother. But I do know one thing. I'm gonna get that Mario. I haven't played Sunshine in a while. I kind of want to play through it again. It's a really good game.
I think I've played it once or twice, so I've never even come close to being able to defeat it. And hello, Mike.
It's a pretty easy game. It's a little time consuming though, but
Which one is that for?
that's for the GameCube.
Yeah,
Yeah,
see,
right.
I never
That's
owned
the one with
I never
the.
owned a GameCube.
Mm-hmm.
One
Well,
of the
Rick,
few.
in the modern day, the GameCube is a very easy system to emulate.
Yeah, I believe that. I probably want to do it at some point. I've played the GameCube a few times for sure. I had a friend that had it, so I played it a few times. But, I didn't ever own one myself, so. I think I
I
like
loved the
my
GameCube.
think I like the symbol on the chest a little bit better than on the shield. For Captain.
Hey guys.
Howdy, howdy.
Is that Mike?
Yeah, it's me.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
All right, I wanted to come in because that was an interesting little story I ran across earlier tonight that I covered.
Yeah?
Were you guys aware that Jack Nicholson actually got his start in Hollywood working for Hanna-Barbera?
No?
Yeah, Jack Nicholson, the movie actor from The Shining.
Yeah, well, I
Batman.
figured that's who you meant.
Yeah. Well,
Only
it's
Jack
funny
Nicholson I
because
know.
yeah. Well, I guess one of his first jobs when he was in 1955 when he was 18 was he applied and continued to apply for work with MGM, right? Um, and was hired on by MGM as an errand boy or a gopher, and he worked in the MGM Cartoon Studios office as kind of the gopher. Go for this, go for that. Go for coffee, go for lunch, go for mail, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it was a pretty interesting little thing. When I saw it on MeTV Tunes, I covered it earlier tonight. Metal, you still there? I hadn't heard.
I think he's still here. Yeah, he's still there. I see him.
Huh. Well, why can't I hear him then?
Maybe he's not talking for whatever reason. Maybe he took
Oh,
this
okay.
chance to walk away from the mic for whatever reason. And hello, Fitzjozo.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys.
Cool.
I don't know if you had a chance to catch my show earlier tonight.
No,
Uh,
I was at the movies. I was seeing Mercy.
yeah, so basically went around through Bounding in the Comics, Bleeding Fool, and that Park Place. There didn't seem to be much on any of those. So what I've been doing the last couple weeks here, what I decided to do was I would just rotate instead of rotating through all four of the sites. I rotate just through the three of Bounding in the Comics, Bleeding Fool, um, and that Park Place, and then on Fridays I would go to the MeTV Tunes site because usually in MeTV Tunes articles they're a little bit slower in coming out, so it's like you may get 2 or 3 a week, but whereas the others, you can have your highs and lows. But
Uh,
I couldn't find anything in terms of anime, cartoons, comics, or any of that on the other 3 sites. I figured, okay, let's see what MeTV Tunes um, had to offer, and they had a couple. And this Sunday, of course, they're going while the Super Bowl is going on. Apparently, they're planning on counter programming it with the Bugs Bunny Bowl, which
the
basically is a
Bunny Bowl.
marathon. Yeah, which is a marathon starting at like 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, and going until I guess for the rest of the day, where they're featuring blocks of Bugs Bunny cartoons like Bugs Bunny in sports, Bugs Bunny in sequels.
Cool.
So anyways, just
Cool.
wanted to share some of that information with you.
Cool.
And
What
I
do you
know
think of
I
my?
got you coming on Sunday, Rick. For we're gonna be starting the August of 1940 coverage with
So
DC. And
cool.
I also or reintroduce everybody to the Golden Age Adam, Al Pratt. So,
Cool. So what do you think of my Green Alan Scott Green Lantern Captain Marvel mashup?
Interesting. I know you're doing the pencils right now, so.
Yeah, pencil things. I'm not sure what. I'm doing the basic concept for the look. It's more what I'm doing.
So what you plan on having some? You planning on making him part of your, um, one of your universes?
Possibly like in my universe, they do read comic books, right? And I've created a universe that I call in that called Merge Comics, and I've done some DC and Marvel crossovers for that. A lot of them. I've done the Captain
You know
America.
what's kind of funny? How we just got started talking about that. That actually reminded me of a story from I don't remember which issue, but in All American Comic, it was actually kind of. In fact, it was kind of the part of the intro of the original Earth 2's Red Tornado, Ma Hunkel,
Yeah.
who was initially a supporting character in the Squibbly um, feature, in which one of the things they were doing that, in introducing, bringing her to become Red Tornado, they had a comic book of a Green Lantern comic book in it.
Ah. Yeah, but in for the merge characters that I've merged, I think they're a little bit more all logical. And then I had this idea a couple weeks ago, of combining the Bat family with the X-Men. So that started me on a whole thing
So,
of,
so it sounds like, okay, you're calling your version the merge universe.
well, I've
I
now
think
got
DC and Marvel did something called like
the amalgam
the
universe.
yeah.
Now, well, technically now, I'm gonna have two different comic book universes in my comic book universe. There's gonna be the merge one, which is what I think is more logical type mashups between DC and Marvel, and then there's going to be another universe. I'm not sure what I'm calling it yet. Set of comics that's going to be a lot more crazier. Like I said, the Bat family with the X-Men. You have, I combined earlier Batman with Professor X, right? So that's a little weird. And I've got a few others. Last week I combined Iron Man with Superman. And so we're going to have, like Green Lantern with Captain America. So a little bit more out there crossovers that, that don't make really that much more sense. Like in my logical ones, I have Namor and Aquaman crossed, right? So this time, um, I'm crossing, like Aquaman with Mr. Fantastic.
Well, look like Tim's here. He's
Yeah,
asking
and
who's
who's
this.
well, I have Mike on with me. Metal might be here. And who do as for the character, this I'm not sure what the name will be, but it's supposed to be a cross between Green Lantern, Alan Scott Green Lantern, and Captain America. Tim. So I don't know what I'd call him at this point.
Well,
Green
anyway,
America, American Green,
yeah.
American
Anyways,
Lantern.
Blake, I was dropping in for a moment, so
Yeah.
I figured I'd drop in and say hi and stuff, and
So
do
yeah,
that.
over the next
So
few weeks, I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of these mashups, and then thanks to Metal suggesting it, as Super Mario movie comes out, between it and when the He-Man movie comes out, maybe a little bit after, I'm going to be trying to draw cross mashups between Super Mario and He-Man.
that'll be interesting. All right, well, I'll see you later, my friend. I just was dropping in for a moment, so I'll see y'all later.
Okay, later, Mike.
Bye.
Thanks for dropping in. And we still do have Metal here. If he says anything, we don't know. Mario Man. Mario! Man, Mario! American Lantern. Hey, you like that? Oh, that's what you're about to say. So, yeah, let's save this. We'll save this as American Lantern. I like that name. It's better than American Green or Green American or Green America, American Green. And right now, like I said, I'm just coming up with looks for these characters. I'm not really doing anything special, and especially with the fact that I need a new nib for my stylus. So, like I said, we do have other names, other characters for this. I'm gonna put an X beside each one that I've actually done. Shift X. Well, that's gonna look weird for Professor X with Batman. Bat X. So what we thought of is we're gonna have uh, Xavier Wayne in a wheelchair. That it's going to be really technical, and it's going to be able to transform around him and sort of give him a suit that will give him mobility that otherwise he doesn't have. So that was our ideas for that. Now, for like I said, this started off with the Bat Family and X-Men. You know what? I think that's what I'll do. Each week I'll do one of the ones that I have till the April when I start thing. Uh, oh, there's Superman and Iron Man. So, yeah. We have Martian Manhunter with Thor, Wonder Woman with Black Widow, Adam with Hulk, Joker with Juggernaut. I haven't got any more villains than that at the moment. Hawkman with Ghost Rider, Black Canary with Scarlet Witch, Flash with Vision, Aquaman with Mr. Fantastic, Captain Marvel, Shazam with Spider-Man, Cyborg with Daredevil, Raven with She-Hulk.
Sorry, I was talking to Marsupial for a bit. We're gonna go to the store, so I'll catch you later.
Okay, later.
Take it easy.
So, any of these that you might, Lobo with Deadpool, any of these that you might like this that I've named so far? See with Plastic Man with Captain Britain, Booster Gold with Red Guardian. So, any of these that you might like to see combined? If anybody's listening. Superboy with Iron Fist. Question is anybody listening to comment? Or am I just gonna have to pick myself? Some ways, the Captain Marvel one, Spider-Man, really has got me into thing. Although Aquaman and Mr. Fantastic or Flash and Vision. Eh. Hey, Alpha, you want to come on? Batman and Professor X. I already did that. Bat X. So what we have is him in the wheelchair. He's in like a regular suit that we're going to say is made of Kevlar. He has gloves on, boots on. He's got the little bat symbol small in like the pocket area. And he's bald. And the wheelchair transforms around him to give him sort of power armor to give him mobility, and you know he can fly and probably shoots batarangs and stuff like that. And then of course we did what we call American Lantern, which is combining Alan Scott Green Lantern with Captain America. Yeah, like I'm trying to figure out how these characters would merge. I thought was interesting. How do I merge those two characters? And that was the best way I thought possible. Now, of course, Metal was on here a little earlier. He was saying that characters in wheelchairs really doesn't make sense to him in DC or Marvel universe, and he said why. And that came into a nice conversation. And then something else that I brought up that I was saying that you don't see in like DC or Marvel is like the Bat family, but a villain version of it, or the Superman family, stuff like that. I want to try and create that, a villain family in Cross Comics. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it exactly, but I think it would be an interesting concept. Why doesn't it make sense? Because with everybody that you know with technology and magic, you know, he figures that these characters can get healed fairly easy. You know, like say Wonder Woman, um, could she heal? Like when Batman got his back broken by Bane, could he not have went to Wonder Woman and said, "Hey, can you take me to the purple rays on Themyscira and put me in there and back heal?" Could he went to Dr. Fate and say, "Hey, can you heal me magically?" There's that, and then there's or Clark say, "Hey, Clark, can you take me to the Fortress of Solitude and get some healing for me from all that fantastic advanced technology from Krypton?" Various things like that. And same with Barbara Gordon and all that, and then I know nothing about DC but Batman. Oh, again, with Marvel, it's almost the same thing, like for various characters, like Professor X, like couldn't he, like inquire to, like Doctor Strange, "Hey, can you heal me?" The magic, like the X-Men have things with the Shi'ar Empire and all that. "Hey, can you heal me?" Fortress of Solitude has healing powers for humans. Well, yes and no. They have advanced technology. I'm sure they could figure out how to scan Batman as a human and figure out how to have his back healed or whatever. The technological stuff in there. Because, pretty sure it has a lot of the archives of Krypton, say, with medical stuff. Yes, technically it would be for Kryptonians, but I'm sure there are a lot of similarities between for most of the biological stuff, like say especially a back or whatever, the spine. So yeah, there we got the American Lantern, as we're calling it. We might work on the symbol a little bit better for Green Lantern, Alan Scott Green Lantern, and Captain America combined. And we were just about to do another one, and we were asking about what characters you might want to see. I'm gonna save another of the Bat Family and the X-Men until next week. Um, well, they aren't all in contact, but the X-Men know enough people, that could do something like that, get them healed. Like I said, the Shi'ar Empire, because like Lalandra from the Shi'ar Empire and Professor Xavier, were romantically involved. And I'm sure Doctor Strange has had crossovers with the X-Men, or the X-Men knows Spider-Man, right? And Spider-Man knows Doctor Strange. So hey, Spider-Man, can you put us in touch with Doctor Strange, to get Professor Xavier's back healed magically or whatever? Yeah, in the comics, Professor Xavier X gets healed a lot, but always ends up back in the chair because it's good representation. Yeah, that's true too. And Meadow was saying a little bit about that, I think, for that. So, but I'm just saying, he was just saying based on the fact that this person knows that person or whatever, 2 or 3 steps removed, you could probably get in touch with the person and somebody and get healed for a back or something like that. That's the main reason most chairs stay in the wheel for chair for representation. Yeah, that's according to Metal. They said that about Barbara Gordon too. But anyways, so some choices here: Martian Manhunter with Thor, Wonder Woman with Black Widow, Adam with the Hulk, Joker with Juggernaut, Hawkman with Ghost Rider, Black Canary with Scarlet Witch, Flash with Vision, Aquaman with Mr. Fantastic, Captain Marvel, Shazam with Spider-Man, Cyborg with Daredevil, Raven with She-Hulk, and that's all I'll do for now for seeing whether of those which ones you might like. To see. Those are wild combinations. Yeah, I know. That's the whole point of this merging of the merging of the characters this time, to go wild, just go wacky, unexpected. You know, like when I did the quote unquote merge universe, I tried to go somewhat logical for the most part. I can't imagine them at all. Well, guess what? At the moment, I can't imagine most of these either, but I'm just going to sit down, and that's what Tuesday nights are going to be for the next little while. Most likely, doing DC Marvel mashups, these wacky ones. And then right around April, when Super Mario Galaxy releases in theaters, and till when, or maybe just a little bit after, when He-Man releases in theaters, we're going to combine Mario, Super Mario stuff with He-Man. The He-Man universe. And me and Metal, we're talking a little bit about that earlier. So I'm going to be probably getting a list of doing that later off screen. And how's work going for you, Alpha? So there's none of those that you think of some wacky combos. Thank you. I'm waiting for my next assignment. So while you're waiting for your next assignment, you can do a little bit of snowdrift. Well, I'm trying to give the audience a chance to participate here and pick something. But if nobody's gonna pick soon, I think I've got to pick. Because I want to draw something in the next for the next half hour. So what am I going to go with? Oh, there. I think I'm going to go with that. One that I did mention. Well, I mentioned it earlier, but I don't think you were here. Lobo with Deadpool. Lobo. DC Comics. I sent you a message in Discord, okay? Okay, so you gotta still get her coming out the window. I think different Dillard referenced an actual city, so I may have to Just something in. Ink him what he sketched. What city is it? Well, they are. It's supposed to be Edmonton, so I'm not sure whether he actually did reference Edmonton or not. He might have. I can't say for sure. So you can look. I'd probably say use Google. That's Edmonton, Alberta. Canada. A blank page, huh? Huh? I'm not sure what you mean a blank page. For what? Oh, Raul. That's. Hey, how are you, Raul? You gonna come on for about the last half hour? Yes. There you go. Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And he spelled Edmonton right the second time, not the first time. Sleeping, sir. It was not a blank. It was not blank anymore. Good stuff. Yes, right now I'm combining Lobo with Deadpool. Wow, you're sleep typing. That's great, Raul. Earlier I combined Alan Scott Green Lantern with Captain America to have the American Lantern. And then earlier than that, I combined Professor X with Batman, or Batman and Professor X, to get Bat X. So he's confined to a wheelchair, which I tried to draw. This is lightly sketched just to get the idea. I might do it better at some point. And the wheelchair can transform around him to give him a mobility power suit. So, he can fight with his family, team, because I'm combining the Bat family with the X-Men. The X family? I'm not sure what you're going to call it. So for my last combination of the evening, I decided I had thing, and then when we get to April, with the release just before the release of Super Mario, we're gonna start mashing up Super Mario characters with He-Man characters till the release of it in June. Or hopefully till the release of it in June. Yeah, well, Deadpool looks beefy. Well, you got to remember, this is with Lobo, so Lobo is a little beefy. Well, Lobo can be beefy anyways, depending on which version you get of him. So using almost obviously with that statement, I'm almost tells you I'm using a little bit more of Lobo's physique. And I sort of tried to divide this skull in two, like you see with what's his name's thing, his face thing that is divided in two. So we got the eyes here, right? And then we got the big things around the eyes for Deadpool. So we're gonna have that without the mask because Lobo has black stuff around his thing. What mashup is this? Lobo and Deadpool. And we'll give them Lobo's mustache. But I do want the full face mask. I don't want the full I don't want the full face mask, so we're gonna give him Lobo's hair. Uh, so we're gonna give him. Well, we'll start out with Lobo's tank top. Just make his skin red instead of white. Yeah, for sure. Well, we're gonna do Lobo's tank top, but I was thinking we make it, well, it's purplish in the one that I'm looking at, but we can make it red. But, let's do these black things that we see. On. Oh, I'm probably going to put the vest on too. Because Lobo has a vest. And I do like both. So I'm actually probably going to do the vest on a different layer. It would cover up the same areas as Deadpool's costume design. Well, in this, pose, or parts of it would. But let's no, it's not really gloves, but we'll give him gloves. That would sort of be almost bikerish. Now, Lobo's had a few different designs for his kneecaps. covering his kneecaps. They've been skulls before. So what I want to do is the skull design thing here. But we'll split it. The skull design thing here. But we'll split it down the center in two. Like, although we do have pouches that we can give Lobo here, or Lobo pool. Dead Lobo? Lobo dead? Lobo pool sounds better. And you know what? What we'll do is we'll give him Lobo's Deadpool's swords. Although I was thinking of combining the swords with the chain that Lobo has for the hooks. The hook. Okay, so we'll do some quick colors on this. Let's take. Hey, Matthew, how are you? I'm good. So ah, wanted a different layer for the white. I'm going to do this really dark. Do you know what color Deadpool's hair is? Does Deadpool even have hair? I know Lobo's, I believe, is black. Deadpool is bald, so. Okay, so. Deadpool's body is full of is scarred. Yeah, I knew it was called scarred. I just wasn't sure, 100% sure because of the scarring whether he had no hair or not. So I figured I'd ask, see if somebody knew one way or another, and it would seem somebody did. So Lobo Pool is probably not the best name. We could probably think of something better later on, but for now, this is Lobo Pool. Probably not the best combination. I probably think it's something could think something better. Oh, he used to be blonde? Then maybe that's what we're gonna make this guy. When this gets saved. I will say that now. So we got Lobo Pool, which I'm not entirely happy with. Just looks like almost looks like Lobo in red tights. We could possibly improve this design later. Or, you know what I think we need to do? Create selection layer. Go with the red, but go a little darker. I think that looks a little better. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming by. Thank Metal for coming on for a bit. Thank Mike for coming on for a bit. It was great having everybody here. Hopefully we'll see you all tomorrow. I will be probably not gonna do maybe Friday I'll do the morning show, but probably not gonna do it the rest of this week. Not that I've done it this week so far, but hopefully next week for sure we'll get back to do the morning show. I got a little discouraged because I accidentally Clip Studio restarted on me. Didn't realize that I didn't save Insecto 1, so all the work I had done on it got erased. So that sucked. So, and thanks to everybody coming in the chat. It was great having you all here. We should see you tomorrow night for Public Domain Wednesday. So, I'm not sure who will be drawing yet. In the public domain, I've got to look. So, yeah, we'll catch everybody later. So, later. God bless. Yeah, I got to do that for sure. I thought I was saving it. That's the problem. And then I get it back and it's not saved unless it's saved in a different area. Anyways, later. Bye for now. God bless. Love you all. See you tomorrow.